Hello and welcome to my channel called Swiss Tesla Fan. So 2 days ago, Tesla announced the truck, the Cybertruck, and there's been, of course, a lot of reactions. If you haven't seen it yet, you better be sitting down when I start showing the images because it's quite surprising. But if you have, I'm sure you know a lot about it already, so I don't want to go over all the details, but I do want to look at how it compares to its competition, especially two competitors. So on the electric side, the Rivian R1T, that's a truck that's actually being built by a startup that's heavily sponsored by the industry, such as Ford or even Amazon, I think. They're really focusing on building a truck that could appeal to a lot of people. And of course, I'll also be comparing it to the Ford F-150, which is in the US the most popular truck right now. And we won't be looking at design or even any of the usual things, but I really want to look at it from the point of view of specifications to see how they actually measure up to each other. And so I've put up a little spreadsheet and we'll go over that. But first, let's quickly look at the Cybertruck if you haven't seen it yet. So this is it. Yep. If you haven't seen it yet, I mean, my first reaction was, what on earth? Is that really the real thing? No, it's not a joke. It's really what it looks like. And so this is Tesla's truck entry. And this is the official page. So we can go down here and start looking at all the different views, the exoskeleton. So what's interesting with this exoskeleton is that it's built out of really hard stainless steel. So it's also very durable, but it also means that it probably comes in one color, and that's it. So it has this really unique and debatable design, let's say. It's really different from anything else that's out there. And they also show here some configurations, what the bed looks like. And you can also see different, that's the interior. So the interior, again, a very simple interior, very similar to the Model 3, with some changes on the wheel. I mean, it's not sure if that's going to be definitive. And here there's some kind of, let me get back. Here there's some kind of marble. It's not clear if it's real marble or if it's just marble-like, but I doubt it's real marble. So that's in motion. And I'm using this over the GSM network, so you can see it can stutter at first. So this is all on the official website. And then I won't go through the specs now because I will be going through them later. And now this is interesting. They've finally released the Swiss translated button for ordering. So if we go in there, you can actually pre-order it. So this means that they're probably going to deliver it in Switzerland, which was one of the big questions I have. And yeah, so here you can see, so will it give us the prices in Swiss francs? No, you can see here, prices are not displayed, whereas if in the US. But what's interesting, we get the pricing for the full self-driving. That's actually cheaper than in the US. In the US, they're selling it for 7,000. So that's interesting. And you can see here that you only need to book it with 100 Swiss francs. If I change here, I'm not sure if it's going to change the price. No, it just changes the specs here. And the specs here, as you see, have not been updated for Europe. They're still in the English system. So yeah, now let's go to the spreadsheet and have a look at the differences with the Rivian and with the Ford F-150 internal combustion engine. You might know about the Rivian truck, so the R1T truck. And so this one was announced before the Cybertruck from Tesla. And it's not clear if this one will be available outside the US yet. It's a smaller company, so we'll have to see. But it has some really good specs, and this is what I want to do. I want to compare the two. So what I've done is that I've prepared a little spreadsheet here. So let's go into that. Okay, so let's compare it to competition. So what I've done here is that I've put three different types of trucks. So the Tesla Cybertruck that was just announced, the Rivian R1T, that's another electric truck. And then for reference, I put the Ford F-150 Raptor. That's the top of the line of the internal combustion trucks. So if you look at the base price, so the Ford here, it starts much lower. But here I took the top of the line because of the performance comparison. Basically, you can see that the Ford is at 53,000 US dollars. Rivian is at 69,000. And this, what surprised everybody was the pricing on the Tesla Cybertruck, because it starts at 39,000. So for a single motor version. So that's actually very aggressive. I mean, there's almost $30,000 difference with the Rivian, and about a little less than maybe 15,000 between with the Raptor. So even if you go for the medium one, you're still cheaper than the Ford. So that's actually very interesting. Now, if you look at the 0 to 60 miles per hour, I wanted to put it in kilometers here, but unfortunately, I couldn't find the numbers for the 0 to 100. I guess it's too early to have the numbers, so I use the 0 to 60. So we can see that the slowest Tesla is at 6.5, but the Rivian is actually really good too. I mean, the fastest version is the middle one at 3 seconds. And the Raptor here is at 5.1. So here you can really see the difference between internal combustion engine vehicles and electric ones. In terms of range, so the internal combustion engine is still the leader here at 648 miles. But the Tesla is getting closer. I mean, it's at 500 miles and 400 for the Rivian. Now for the full self-driving, here, of course, the Ford has nothing. The Tesla is an option, so $7,000. Now the Rivian is not clear. I put yes here to be, let's say, fair to them, but on their website they just say it will come, but it's not clear if you. All the sensors are provided by default, but it's not clear if it's an option you have to activate or if it'll be part of the base package. But I'm assuming right now that it's part of the base package. Now the release dates, so the Ford of course is available. The Raptor is announced for late 2020, and the Cybertruck, I put 2022 here. That's accounting for Elon time. Basically, it could arrive in 2021 at the earliest, but it's not necessarily going to happen, or we could be surprised. Maybe they'll do it faster. They are ramping up production on a lot of things, including the Model Y, so that remains to be seen, but I think an estimation in 2022 is reasonable. You should also note that on the Rivian, the release dates are different depending on the battery packs. So they'll start with the largest one and then release the smaller ones later. In terms of towing capacity, so again here, depending on the model of Tesla, it will change because it has different numbers of engines. With the Rivian, it's always 4 engines, so it has 11,000 pounds of towing capacity, whereas the Raptor is, I mean, here I took the highest capacity, so I'm not sure the actual Raptor can do that, but one of the Ford F-150 can do that. So yeah, they can go up to 13,000, so it's beating the Rivian, and it's beating the 2 lower ones in the Tesla offering. For the battery capacity, so as I'm filming this just 2 days after the announcement, I couldn't find any data on the battery capacity for the Cybertruck, but I do have the information for the Rivian R1T, and so this of course is not available on the internal combustion engine. The ground clearance also is interesting. So the Tesla is the highest one. Here it's adjustable, up to 8 inches adjustable, so that's also an interesting option. On the Rivian you're at 14.1, and I was really surprised by the Ford, which is at 9.4, so that's pretty low. Now, these two approach angles and departure angles, I'm not an expert, so I don't really know what they're for. If you do know, please leave a comment in the description. I'd love to know exactly what they mean. I didn't have time to research this. But again, it seems like the Tesla Cybertruck and the Rivian are doing really well compared to a traditional truck. Okay, so if we look at the volt length or the bed, so the Tesla is at 6.5 feet, the Rivian at 4.6, and the Ford at 5.7. So the Rivian has the smallest bed, actually. In terms of engines, so or motors, so the Cybertruck has either 1, 2, or 3 motors, whereas the Rivian has 1 per wheel. So that gives it a lot of flexibility in terms of what it can do in terms of being able to control traction on each separate wheel. So I would think the Rivian probably has the best system there. Although it seems like the engines are not as powerful as the Tesla ones because the towing capacity is lower. Of course, the Ford is a single engine, as they are very big, and you don't really need a second one. Now, what's interesting here is I was looking at the technology, the sensor types. So basically, the Tesla, like all the other Teslas, has cameras, ultrasonic, and a front radar. But the Rivian has something more. The Rivian actually has LiDAR installed. So LiDAR, if you're not familiar with that, it's a laser sensor that will scan the environment with a laser to build a 3D model of the environment. So it's another way of building a mapping of the environment. Now, LiDAR, Elon Musk has criticized LiDAR quite a lot, saying that it's full of problems, and it's true that one of the autonomous cars that killed somebody was using a LiDAR. That was the Uber Volvo car. So it doesn't prevent accidents all the way. But what's interesting with Rivian is that basically they will have a choice of what type of sensor they will be processing. So they could use some cameras, they could use LiDAR, they could use a combination. But of course they won't have as good a coverage as the Tesla, because Tesla has a lot more cameras installed than the Rivian, that I think has maybe 4 or 5, whereas the Teslas have 8. And for the Ford, I couldn't find all the information, but it's basically the standard sets of sensors that internal combustion engines have. So ultrasonic for parking, and cameras for line detection and stuff like that. So it does keep you in line and so forth. So I don't know if it has any other sensors. I couldn't find that information. But anyway, I hope this gives you a good idea of how these trucks compare in terms of specs. Of course, looks are a different story, but I really wanted to focus on the specs here and the pricing also, because that shows that both companies, both Tesla and Rivian, are trying to put on the market some compelling products that really provide a good alternative to internal combustion engine offerings. And I chose the Ford F-150 because it's most sold and most popular one in the US. Now the big question is, which one of these are we likely to see outside the US? I think the Ford is available outside the US. I'm not sure about the Cybertruck, whether it will come. But I'm guessing it probably will. And the Rivian is really difficult to know because it's a smaller company. But it would be really interesting to see these trucks on small roads outside the US. I'm not sure it will be a very good fit. For example, I have this underground parking lot, and I'm not sure you can actually fit any of these. I didn't check the dimensions, but the actual clearance, if it's over 2 meters, for example, it will not fit in most of the underground parking lots in Switzerland. Okay, so as you can see, both Tesla and Rivian have an offering that's very competitive. Rivian is on the higher price range. Their focus was really on building an incredible truck. I didn't go through all the specs that Rivian has. It also has possibilities in terms of going into the water. It's not clear if the Cybertruck will be able to go into a certain depth of water. So that's still information we don't have. And it should come to market before the Cybertruck too. Now, of course, Ford hasn't announced anything for the F-150, but they were talking about an electrified version of that, so that remains to be seen if and when it will come out. And yeah, I think that's it in terms of these comparisons. Of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to use the comments below. And yeah, please put a thumbs up if you like this video, and hit the notification bell and the subscribe button. Actually, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to get notified when I release my new video. And if you are interested in buying one of these Teslas, whether it's even the Cybertruck, you really should use a referral code. That way you'll get 1,500 kilometers of free supercharger electricity. And if you don't have a referral code, you can use mine in the description below. And that way I'll also get some perks like free electricity, and maybe the possibility to go to one of these reveal events if I get enough. I'd really appreciate everything you guys do to help the channel grow. Please share it if you like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.